What should I plant in the spring is a question that I get asked every single year, and I'm so excited to walk you through my first flower bed of 2025, from shopping to planting. Let's go. Well, it is a garbage dumpster fire day here in Utah. But I want to show you how I get this look in my flower beds. And the way I do it is by starting early. And when the weather is rainy or snowy, which I'm not sure if you can you hear the rain right now? But it's a great time because you don't have to water your spring plants quite as much, and it'll give them a chance to root in before it starts getting warmer. So if you can find a break in between rainstorms, now is a great time to get planted. So let me show you what I am getting. My name is Natalie, and I garden in Utah Zone 7A. It's a very cold and high altitude 7A, so take that with a grain of salt. It's not the same 7A as a lot of 7As. We actually have snow on the forecast for tomorrow, tonight. You can see the snow coming down the mountains. Actually, as I was even driving here, I could see it coming down the mountains. So we'll see how far we get today. We might just do a quick shopping. I think I can shop and get it shoved in, although me recording videos is not going to help that. So the snow, let's talk about the snow. Pansies and violas will do just fine, and the snow will actually help insulate the plants a little bit. Tripod malfunction. The snow will actually help insulate your plants. You can also put a frost cloth or a towel over the top. It's so dang windy at my house that the towel and the frost cloth, generally speaking, just blows away. If who has time to go get clothespins? Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But if you have clothespins out, you can clothespin the towel or the frost cloth, and that'll help it stay even better. If you're trying to get your flowers picture perfect, that's a great way to do it. I will leave it with the snow on top for a little while till the sun comes out, and then go take it off. You don't want to take the snow off. Like I said, it's a good insulator until it's sunny and warm again. By the way, I appreciate you watching. I know not everyone likes when I talk to you in my car, but it is rainy and cold outside, and I am willing to go out and garden in the wet, rainy, cold weather because I love being outside, but my microphone does not, and also my camera does not. So I'll work it out when I get home, but that's the reason I'm recording in my car again. Also, it feels weird when there's people around. I recently got home from the most beautiful, warm, sunny vacation, and it was amazing, but I'm also excited to be here in my garden all summer. It's like the last time I have to leave, and I'm pretty excited about it, to be quite honest. I just like being in my space with my people and my plants and things where I want them to be. The garden center, however, in the week that I've been gone, has been hopping. They have packed it full of bare root roses and trees. I see all kinds of fruit trees and evergreens. There's, fun boxwoods, and forsythia is out there. We need to do a video on roses very soon as well, but I'll go show you the roses because you don't want to miss out on these. It's actually a really great time to get roses planted. And they have some really fun varieties at Home Depot that you can get for a really great price. There's some varieties I'll show you that are sold by other retailers for way more money, and so you can get a really good deal here. I feel like a smart person would add a raincoat or snow coat to their car at this point, maybe for the next video. Maybe. I keep hoping that we're done with the rainy, cold weather, and we're just not. But I'm manifesting that it's going to end really soon, but it's not. What's really fun about these pansies, I actually didn't know until I got home, but see these reddish ones on the fourth row down? They are the Coastal Sunrise mix, I'm guessing. Best guess. And I actually have a book that I just got in the mail, and it was talking about this same variety of pansy, which luckily are some that I picked up while I was here because they are so pretty, and the faces on them are so large. They have kind of a yellowish mix with a pinky, it's not really red, maybe a pinky red with an orangey coral kind of look to them. And then you can see I'm so excited to have the violas come in too. There's a few violas up on the top here, and you can see the snow is starting also. They also had these cute tiny little daffodils, and I honestly like this size a lot because they are easy to plant for me. I don't have to dig a very large hole. So this is a great size for me to get in the garden. This is the larger size, and you can see it has 3 daffodils, which I really like the cluster. I like a good clump when I'm planting any of my bulbs, daffodils especially. And so if you want to dig a slightly bigger hole, it's not like it's that hard if you have a bed that you've already planted in before. But if I have one that I haven't, I would probably do the smaller ones. But these are going in some pots and containers, and I actually like to leave them in the plastic grower's pot sometimes and sink that into the container. And then when the weather is nicer, I'll put them outside and I'll actually plant them in the ground. It just got colder and colder, so I had to move inside to warm up a little bit. But I did find a whole cart full of stuff to take inside with me. I found the violas. You know what else I also found? This is Bruce. And Bruce, I have to show you his yard. We were chatting about violas and pansies, and his yard is incredible. So let me turn the camera around. This is Bruce's incredible yard. Isn't that amazing? Look at those pots. He was talking about how he has these pots and he wants some pansies and violas for. Aren't those incredible? So he had trees there that died, and
No, I pulled them out.
They didn't die. He pulled them. He killed them. He killed them on purpose, which is great. If you have stuff in your yard you don't like, pull it. Don't keep growing stuff you don't like forever. But look how incredible that is. So pretty. We're going to be checking in with Bruce over the summer, I can tell already. Okay, now Bruce was showing me on his camera roll his golden chain tree. And he's got a picture. I'm going to pop it up here so you can see. It is amazing. The golden chain tree. I don't know anything about it. But that looked like it bloomed in the spring for you, right?
Uh-huh.
Spring bloomer.
Little.
We need to look into this. That's okay. I'll pop it up on the screen. We figured out how to airdrop between our 2 phones, me and Bruce. But that's a really pretty one. Okay, note to self. Bruce is telling me about his sister-in-law who built a willow house in her backyard to read stories to her grandchildren. That sounds amazing. I'm going to be Googling that when I get home as well. I was really excited to see this tray. Well, I love the blue. I mean, they're purple, but the blue violas are always a favorite of mine. But these soft yellow, I was kind of hoping to find a soft yellow color this year, and this is even better because you can see the bottom of these violas have a brighter yellow, and then the top edge of them is a softer yellow. I prefer a softer yellow with my door color, but all of my daffodils in my front yard are kind of a mix of a white and a brighter yellow to soften it a little bit from far away. They're just a random mix of things, 2 different daffodils put together. But I love the blue, and it's a nice soft blue, and I'm going to mix it with these violas. I like to carry the yellow from the daffodils, that color, down into, I guess their feet is what I would call it, with my violas. I want to repeat the color. As a designer, one of the things I like to do is repeat colors pretty frequently in my garden. So I'm doing blue, yellow, and then that kind of corally red color that I showed you in the pansies outside, that coastal sunrise mix this year. That's my plan. So I got these 2, and then I also got a larger pansy. Home Depot, hear me out. Protein bars, protein shakes. I like the snacks. I do. But I need some protein. But my tamale dealer was here. Yes, I love it. I love it when she is here. She's like, "Hey lady." She calls me "Hey lady" from across the parking lot because she knows that I'm always in on the tamales. Well, it's cold and wet, and I'm going to go back out and show you the roses real quick before I drive home to plant some things. Home Depot just needs a restaurant selling Elvia's tamales all the time, so you could get these anytime because they're amazing. Chicken green chili, folks. You're missing out. Now is the time of year to look for the bushel and berry products. If you're looking for a great patio or container thornless berry, these are really fun to grow. And mine got moved outside in my store, which I'm really excited about. They look very healthy and happy. So do not wait on these because they will be gone very soon. The rose deals I wanted to tell you about. Now, some of these even have 2 roses inside the pack, which is crazy. They just showed up in my store. Someone's been here already. I didn't pull any of these out that are on the ground, but you can tell they've been looking for something specific. These are considered bare root roses, and they are packed in usually a wood shaving mix of some kind. And see that yellow one right there? That's 2 plants, which is crazy. So the shaving mix or soil, that one has some soil that you can see, and they're already budding up and getting ready. So you can go ahead and plant these in my zone if your ground is not frozen solid. But if your ground is frozen solid, I would plant them in a 12 by 12 inch pot. I would not go smaller than that. And you want to put the graft here in Utah. So that bump, there's kind of a stem and then the little bump. I need to do a whole video on this, but if you're doing it in Utah, plant it 2 inches below the ground, the graft, because of our freeze and our constant freeze thaw situation. It's best for your rose. So we'll go into a whole video on that, so don't worry too much about it. But if I was buying these right now, I would pot them up and get them either outside by a wall so it can soak up a little bit of warmth from that, or you could put it in your garage if you have a window in your garage and it would start to grow there too. So I have mine outside and they are just in pots still from last fall, and they're all bundled together to kind of keep them warmer. Now this one, this Kennedy hybrid, I've heard a lot of good things about that particular white rose from the Utah Rose Society. I don't grow it myself, but if you grow that one, tell me what you love about it, because I swear I keep seeing posts pop up on Facebook about that particular rose. So I know people are looking for it. And then some sunny, beautiful yellow corals and oranges down here. And then again at the base. And some of these have just gone out of patent. These on the bottom here, these white ones are iceberg roses, and my entire backyard is iceberg roses. And they have kind of a long romantic stem on them. They're not a short shrubby bush, and they have multiple heads per stem. And I love them because they're not crazy, crazy thorny. They do have thorns, but they're not as thorny as some of the other roses. And it's a little bit easier for my kids to help deadhead them or cut some and bring them inside. They're not thornless, don't get me wrong. They still have thorns, but they just bloom and bloom all summer for me. They're beautiful. And that brings us to the peonies or peonies. I usually say peonies. The peonies are one plant where I would pay more to have a larger established plant. But if you are on a super tight budget, I would definitely pick these up, let's be honest. But I would probably pay more to wait a little longer and catch the ones that are in bloom. They come out a little bit later, usually I think around May. And the ones in bloom, peonies just take a while to establish. That's why I would wait and get a bigger plant on a peony. Lilacs, I love lilacs. They do especially well here in Utah. I think I probably was supposed to buy one of those sensation ones to finish my hedge out in the front yard. I have a little lilac hedge going on that's pretty new, and it has incredible hydrangeas underneath, and I'm so excited to see if my lilacs bloom this year. My backyard is all white lilacs because I have a moon garden in the backyard, and everything's white. Now, this hydrangea right here, the Annabelle, that is crazy that it is here for $13. If you are at a Home Depot, I hope your price is the same. I know that they can vary from store to store from what I hear from other people. But the Annabelle hydrangea is incredible. It's more floppy. If you live in a wet climate, I would hold out and get an Incredible by Proven Winners. But an Annabelle hydrangea is huge. They get so massive. I have one, and it's in full shade in my own yard. And she's gigantic and does so well. She doesn't get a drop of sunlight though. She just gets really reflected light off of my house. And then I'm just kind of showing you what else was here on the rack. I love clematis as well. Again, I wait for bigger ones. There's also strawberries. I buy these personally in, the little 5 and 6 packs, but these are great too, I'm sure. They look really healthy because they must have just come in off the truck in the last week. So lots of good lots of berry options. If you're planting blueberries, you need to plant them in a pot here in Utah because they need a more acidic soil and water situation than what we have going on. So if you're planting blueberries, you really do need to put them in a container of some sort, and probably also alter your water because even our water here is so alkaline that they don't always do so well. So blueberries, I have not had the best success. You tell me how yours are doing because I'm really curious to know. The pink one, I mean, who doesn't love a pink blueberry? I would just never remember when to pick this, but it's adorable and I love the color of it. I Maybe I should go back and get some. Should I? I don't know. I have a little bit of FOMO as I'm recording the voiceover for this. Gooseberry, I don't think I've ever tried a gooseberry. Do you grow them here? Do you like them? Do I need to get one? I'm not sure. But it seems like the price is amazing on these, so I just wanted to give you a nice slow pan so you could see what was in stock at my current Home Depot. Now, Home Depot stores have different tiers, so some sell through things faster. If you don't see these in your particular tier of store, you would just want to go to one that you think is more popular. In Utah, the Fort Union store is really, really busy and they seem to have everything stocked there all of the time. So if you're looking for something specific, that's the store that I would personally go to and check out, or I would check out a few on the way, let's be honest. But this is another beautiful, beautiful rose, and I've actually grown this mother of pearl rose through bloomables, not through this particular one. Mine came rooted and they were gorgeous. Knockout roses. If you're a beginner gardener, knockout roses, you cannot prune them wrong. They are disease and pest and fungus resistant. They are just bred to be an easy rose, and mine rebloom about 3 times. I've never grown this sunny. I took a picture of it because I've never seen them in this particular section of the store. You know, while I was out of the house, I was going to stop at the dollar store. This is, I think, Dollar Tree, and I have been stalking them for a couple of weeks now. My friends in California have had these particular seeds for way longer than I have, but you can see I love their Bloomsdale longstanding spinach variety. Bloomsdale is slow to bolt here in Utah, which means that when our heat starts going crazy, it gets really high and really low and really high and really low. This one doesn't go bitter as fast and turn into flowers as some of the other varieties. I've also, if you've seen my seed starting video, this is the Paris Island romaine that I am growing inside my house in my indoor grow tent setup inside my house as well. So I grabbed a whole bunch more of that seed because it does really, really well for me. It grows really easily. The lettuce tastes amazing, and I wanted a bunch more because I'm going to be growing them inside over the winter months in the next fall season. And these seeds sell out really fast because it's 4 packs for $1.25. So if you happen to see this display, I've never seen the display restocked in all the years that I've gone to the dollar store. So if you see seeds you want, you need to buy them. The lady who was here before me bought 700 packs of seeds or something like that, they said. It was a lot. I also love these French breakfast radishes. I have a little mandolin slicer. It's linked in my Amazon storefront that I love, and get the little special gloves so you don't slice a finger off while you're doing it. And these are great because they're kind of a long radish and they're really easy to slice on that mandolin slicer. We use them on tacos and salads all summer long. At some point, maybe I can share my pickled radish recipe from my friend Cynthia with you because it's really simple and just really good to keep in the fridge. And I like the tangy tartness, pepperiness that it adds to my salads and things in the summertime. And also, radishes are really easy to grow if you have kids. They grow so incredibly quickly. I also wanted to show they have other varieties of radishes. This is some kind of gourmet blend, and I think they had one called cherry something as well. But I just stick to the French breakfast because they're easier to slice on my mandolin. This is something I haven't shown you yet, but I'm actually growing lettuce. I've been growing lettuce all winter with these little domes. I actually started it without these little domes, and I added these in early January, the second I found them at the Dollar Tree. These little domes are $1.25 each, which personally I think it's fine, but a little bit overpriced in my opinion. But they are tall enough to get that head of romaine and wide enough because that one head of romaine fills up this entire thing. In fact, in my garden right now, it's pushing this off of it because it is growing so, so well. Even in the snow, it's been out there all winter long. So if you want to see a video of that, let me know and I will put one together for you. I just did it for fun. This is just a slow pan to show you a few of the other things. I haven't tried any of these other items from the dollar store, but they look like they just came in. I don't know. Have you grown them? Are they good? Am I missing out? I probably am. I probably should have grabbed a couple more things. This is the problem with making videos about gardening. I go back through my camera roll and I'm like, ooh, I should have gotten that. Ooh, that's pretty too. Why am I not growing freesia? I don't know. These Joby's indoor flower stakes, I use them for houseplants in the past, and they're actually really good if you need a slow release fertilizer. So here is what I ended up taking home. I picked up some daffodils. They didn't have any tulips out yet, but I also really like daffodils because they naturalize well in my environment. And then this is just a better picture of that coastal sunrise. I hope I'm saying the name right. I might be getting that messed up. I'll put it in the comments if I am saying it wrong. But they're so pretty and the flowers are massive. I can't wait to dry some of these in my flower press. Pretty excited. And then in the back, the very back row, you can't even see them in these videos. There's some not quite opened, darker blue pansies. These are violas in the front. But in the back row, I also do have some dark blue pansies. I am remarkably bad at taking before shots for before and after. So this is the before with all of the flowers loaded onto my stone wall. My husband and I built this retaining wall. It was a slope all the way down to that fence there that you can see. And those are hibiscus, Proven Winners, white Rose of Sharon pillars on either side of the window there. And you can see all of my leaves are blown into the flower beds and they're just protecting the bare soil right there. There's nothing planted there. I used to have some salvia planted there and I dug it all up because you can kind of tell from this photo, but this is a walkway in between the front and back. And the salvia was just attracting way too many bees and my kids did not go for it. I do get comments about my nails and the fact that I do like to keep a manicure. My job as an illustrator, I like to have my hands look decent, not all the time, but it's because of these gloves. And I will link these below. If you need a good set of gloves that will keep your nails looking nice, these are the best pair that I've ever seen. They are, I can't remember the name of the brand. I just know they have a horse. Anyway, I haven't found them very many places, so I'll link them if you want to get some. They come in small, medium, and large. I bought smalls and mediums. I think I bought 4 pairs this season just so that I could have them in the front yard, the backyard, my garden bucket, my other garden. I just like to keep a lot of pair of gloves around. They're really sturdy and they're good for roses and things too because they have that, I don't even know if it's real suede to be honest. I'm guessing it's not, but it might be. But they're a more durable glove and you won't need to replace them nearly as often. I like to have a lot of pairs of these around. I also like to use my snips and open up the containers. These are those really thin containers, and so they slice really easily, and it's a lot better for me to just pop the plants out and not disturb the roots as much if I use my clippers or a pair of dollar store scissors. I keep those all over the garden as well to just open through the 6-pack. And so I usually go through and clip all of my 6-packs before I start planting them. And it just makes it faster. The view that you are seeing in this photo is the exact view that I have when I am sitting at my desk. The camera is set up inside my house, again, because of the snow and the rain, but that is the view that I see all day, every day when I am sitting at home working. And so that's the reason why I always start with this bed very first. Technically, it might be second because I also do, the other place I start with is by my driveway. Because as I'm coming and going in my car, I like to see the pretty flowers getting planted and growing right there by my driveway. I know it's weird. My husband's like, you plant the places nobody sees. And that is true because I see them and I plant them for myself. So these are the 2 places I start with. If you have a really pretty spot outside the view from your kitchen, that's going to be the 3rd place that I plant, is actually the view from my kitchen sink, because I probably see that as much or more. I thought about it last year. There's a window box that I see on my back porch railing from my kitchen sink. And last year I was thinking that is gotta be the next thing that I do with those 3 spots. So I like to pick places in the early spring that I see the most and I personally will enjoy the most. So this is one of them. This bed is about, gosh, I don't know. I want to say 10 feet across. and it's about 3 feet deep. It's actually deeper than it should be, if that makes sense. You really only want a flower bed that's about as deep as your arm reach, and you can tell from this that I have to go get in the flower bed to be able to plant it, which quite honestly is not ideal for a couple of reasons. Number one, I have to do all kinds of ninja poses up here to keep from stepping on the bulbs that I planted and that are already coming up in this bed. I'm right there is close to the window, and so I can't reach all the way from standing on the ground up to this point where I'm planting these violas and pansies right now. But that's the side that I see the most through the window, so I make sure I plant that side very densely up against the glass because I will see that the most out of everything. And then I'm just being really careful not to step on the things that are already growing in this bed, all the bulbs. I have hyacinth and daffodils already in here. I'm very excited about this large-faced pansy, I'm not gonna lie. It is so cute and gigantic. The other reason you really don't want to be stepping in your flower beds, which you will see me doing all of the time over on Instagram, is because it's going to compact your soil and make it not as easy for your roots to spread and grow as if you hadn't been stepping in your flower beds. Yeah, they'll do fine. Yeah, my garden is fine, but I frequently step in my flower beds to get a better photograph, and I never did that before I started sharing my gardens online on social media. So avoid it if you can. Quite honestly, I meant to leave these daffodils in their pots, and I'm just now realizing that I took the pots off. I meant to plant it with the pot because I'm going to pull them and put them in a different bed. Well, maybe I'll leave them here. I might leave them here. We'll see. We'll see how the spring and summer goes. I plant this very densely with the pansies and things, and then right before they stop selling wave petunias in stores, I will throw in a few wave petunias and maybe a couple other annuals that I find pretty in the garden center so that this will fill out and be flush and beautiful even after it gets too hot for the pansies, which for me in this bed receives a little bit southeast morning sun, and then as the hibiscus pillars to my side here, you can see in the video, as those start filling up with their leaves, it gets a lot more shady. So it's sunnier right now in the spring than it will be. I might actually do impatiens again. The first couple years I had this bed, I didn't have those hibiscus pillars, and so it got quite a bit more sun than it does now. And the impatiens that I put in last year were incredible, and they didn't get any mildew or anything funky on them. And so I am pretty excited to try those again. But I have planted full sun plants in here in the past as well, and they've done okay. But if I was going to do that, I think I would need to clean up these hibiscus again. The nice thing about the hibiscus on either side is that they really draw in the hummingbirds. And apparently the hummingbirds remember that they are there. I've been told I am not a bird expert. Birds kind of scare me, so I actually like to watch the hummingbirds through the glass. I actually think it's pretty great. And they will just kind of flutter there for a long time and hang out with the hibiscus flowers and stare at me through the glass and then fly away. And they come back more and more each year, so they must be fans. Either way, if you have a desk by a window, I highly recommend this planting strategy because it's been really good for me and it's been really fun to watch as well. If you are from a rainy place, like let's say India, I have a lot of people from India who comment that this window is going to be a problem because of water damage and weather. I live, again, I've mentioned this a lot, in a desert. I feel like I need to mention this more than people realize because, one, anyone that grows anything here should be given an award because, quite honestly, it's not easy. So if you are a beginner gardener and you are growing in Utah or another desert area, you have my full support because it's a little bit traumatic, to be honest. But if you can get your drip lines and irrigation good to go, then it's not so bad. And if you find somewhere that has good lists of drought tolerant plants, you can make it really low maintenance as well. I just like to get my drip lines in place and then plant the things that I love from growing up around the country. As a kid, I moved a lot, and I really love the East Coast aesthetic vibe, so that's what I do in my garden. Again, I mention it a lot because people always say, why do you keep mentioning Utah when you clearly live in like New Hampshire? which quite honestly I take as the utmost highest of all compliments. So thank you very much if you ever thought that about my garden or my home. So I'm getting pretty close here. I actually did not plan this out as well as I normally do, and I just did kind of a mixed, scattered, natural effect. I generally plant this particular garden bed very formally and very centered, and I do 3s and 5s with my taller plants like my daffodils, and then I fill in all the spaces in a very completely symmetrical pattern. Even though it kind of grows together and becomes unruly and natural anyway, I always plant it very symmetrically. But this year I did not have the time because of the weather and deadlines like kids and work and videos and filming and editing. So it's going to be a really pretty natural look this year, which I think is going to turn out. If not, too bad. Done. And I almost made that on time. That's my daughter texting me to come pick her up from high school. I'll be back. One last tip before I go is you want to make sure that anything that you have planted is really well watered. And here in Utah, again, sometimes your ground will look damp, but it'll just be damp on the top and not all the way down through. And some of the spots that I was planting in were dry, and so I'm just going to get those watered before we have any snow tonight or tomorrow. I just want to make sure that the roots and everything have the moisture down at the roots that they need, and that the plants will be nice and plump before the cold weather comes. I found this helps a lot. As long as your plants are hydrated, then the cold air doesn't seem to bother them. And here's one last final look before everything gets covered in snow. I leave a little bit of area on the sides here because I want to add some spiller plants like creeping Jenny. There's actually some in here already that I've trimmed all the way back, and it has tiny, tiny little green buds starting to pop up already. But the creeping Jenny is a perennial for me, and so it'll come back and spill over the sides. I'll probably add some more, knowing me, maybe a little bit of bacopa, a few other things as they become available at the garden center. And here is the front side. I even have enough pansies and violas left to do my front planters by my door or by my garage. And then I also did this little row of pansies along the front of this annual bed. I like to put something taller in the back like dahlias, or last year I did pink daisies. I say we because a friend on Instagram mentioned it, and it turned out super cute and it was really fun. I really enjoyed having them in there. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you again real soon. And don't forget to subscribe if you want to follow along and see how the garden fills out this summer.